Hello everybody and welcome back to another Eto catch-up. I am Josh.
Oh, that was like so sensual.
Thank you.
I'm Will, is what I usually say there, but I went with that was so sensual.
Very good. And on top of all of this, I am also very offended because for the latter half of this podcast, I was not included.
It's very true. And you weren't even told of this. I was just like, hey, so today when we film this, you don't have to say anything after about half an hour.
That's it. We've
even recorded the outro.
So rude.
So,
what?
You're not even in the outro. Or maybe you can just say the words. Say them now, and I'll put it in the end. Just say.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sheep out.
There you go. You'll hear that later.
Yeah.
But what we are doing at the end of this podcast, I've got a special guest, Sam. You may have seen him in a couple of our other videos. He is a Game of Thrones watcher. We're not.
I was just going to say, he also plays Superman in your Good Game intro.
That's very true. If you haven't seen that, he's in that. And yeah, so he watches the Thrones. We don't watch the Thrones. He watched the Thrones ending, and he had thoughts. So if you are a Thrones fan, come on by. We're going to talk about that right at the end. It's full of spoilers, though. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, don't watch. But, I mean, look, if you want to, you're never going to watch this show now. It's too late. So you might as well come and listen.
Anyway, we can move on to the first piece of news, which is Sims 4 is currently free for the next, I think, 6 days. If you have an Origin account, so you can jump online and grab that.
I'm just going to say, that's exciting. That's really cool. And I think that as you know, a fan of the franchise that hasn't picked it up, that sounds really good, Josh.
It is, yeah. But, of course, the internet is up in a total frenzy. Twitter is blowing up right now. I
am shocked.
Yeah, right?
That's a good thing, and people don't like it?
It's crazy. So everyone's mad because it's on well, it's free, and some people have paid for it previously.
Why?
What the hell? This happens all the time. Half the movies you own are probably on Netflix, and you don't need them anymore.
That's a good point.
You don't need to have bought them. Like, PS Plus, Xbox Live, all these things, even just your Epic account that you don't even have to pay for.
Yeah.
They're just giving games for free. Yep. No one's getting mad, Sims fans. No one's getting mad that this thing is happening.
Because it's the same thing that happened to For Honor. Like, after 2 years, EA were like, hey, you know what? You might as well have it for free.
That's it.
And no one cared. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, I can finally play the game.
Yeah, and more people were able to play, and so all the fans that loved it already were like, hell yeah, we have a whole new group of fans.
I actually think there was a stat that was like the player base quadrupled. Like, it was a massive thing, and the game is now thriving. Like, it's getting updates again. Like,
that's
this is
crazy.
Great.
Yeah, that's so good. But yeah, with this, like, this game came out in 2014, guys.
Yeah. It's also The Sims. No offense to the fans that are very aggressive, so I probably shouldn't have said that, but
it's just what the hell?
It's just another update in the world of the internet being, like, angry for no reason.
That's it.
And we've got another one later in this news.
We do. That's when I'll be back, right at the end.
Oh, yeah. But before that,
up until then,
a new game that is coming out is the Doctor Who VR game. This is actually the second one this year, which is wild. This is called The Edge of Time. The previous one was more of an experience. You didn't really get to interact. You kind of just watched an animated Doctor Who running around a TARDIS and stuff. But this one is, it's got, from the trailer that's dropped, it's got Daleks and Weeping Angels. Like, one of those things is the best and worst thing to put into a VR game. The developers have said that they'll be transporting fans into a globally beloved world of aliens, mystery, and wonder, which kind of sounds like they're going to be putting a lot of stuff into this. It's being called a cinematic length adventure, so it'd probably be about a 2.5 hour thing, and it's all interactive as well.
Wow. That's really cool.
I'm very excited.
That sounds huge.
I forgot to note this down, but it is made by a few former Activision devs, which is also pretty cool.
Cool.
So
nice.
This is legit.
Which Doctor? Jodie?
It's Jodie. Jodie's providing the voice as well, which is awesome. And that comes out September, and it's on PSVR, it's on Oculus Rift, it's on HTC Vive, it's on Vive Cosmos, and it's even on Oculus Quest, which is really cool.
Ah, very good. Yeah, pushing that Oculus Quest.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that on a lot of things, because I know when that was announced, everyone was like, it'll be kind of baseline games, like, not everything will get there, but, like, even though this is pretty bare bones, I'm sure, it's good to see that on there.
Yeah, very cool.
But a console that we're all very, like, you know, they're not even trying to hide it now, it's the PS5. We've got a bunch of exciting, nerdy, rubbish But before that, we also got some really exciting stuff, which was part of a corporate strategy meeting from Sony, I think a couple of days ago, and it was a little bit of news on backwards compatibility. Now,
Okay.
this was from someone who obviously, works for Sony and wants it to sound all very nice, but they basically said that almost all PS4 games will be compatible at launch. So basically, It means no more waiting around until there's games to play. It's like you can throw your PS4 away at launch, get the PS5, and chuck your games back in with, your Last of Us 2. Like, straight away, you can
Sick.
use the console for your previous games. You don't have to worry about that kind of... Keep using your PS4 until there's a reason to get the PS5. So
Very good.
it's one of those things, it's like, but why has that never been the case?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
That's crazy. That's awesome. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, that, obviously the Xbox will probably then do the same thing once this is an official thing, but,
Very likely.
yeah, but this, if they are the one that does it, not Xbox, that console will easily top the PS4 within seconds.
Yes.
Because you'll just buy it. You won't have to worry. Another little bit, they used our favourite game, the Spidey, to show some load speeds. And they had kind of those dip to black and load screen sections. PS4, 8.1 seconds. PS5, 0.83 seconds.
It's so stupid. I did watch it.
Yeah, and then the fast travel was 15 compared to 0.8 seconds.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I saw another shot of them, sort of the camera just flying through a city.
Yep.
And it just sort of sped up faster and faster and faster over time. And the PS4 every now and again would just freeze as it had to
Yeah.
render stuff and then would continue. But the PS5 just kept going and going and going. It's great. Man, that thing's got to be nuts.
I'm so excited. The thing I love is that, and obviously it must be supporting 8K or at least 6K, because they show it on a 4K screen and then they're like, "Ooh, look at this screen," and I'm like, but that just looks like it's a bigger TV. That doesn't mean that it's better resolution. You've just got
Yeah.
a small TV and a big TV.
Yeah.
That's not a good way to compare stuff.
That's it. It's also hard for us to see that because no one owns 4K, so
And also, all of these leaks are shot on a potato phone,
yeah.
so not much help for us.
Very true.
But also coming out of this big corporate strategy thing is a whole new studio from Sony called
A whole new studio.
Thank you. A little bit of... we're now sponsored by Disney. Check out Aladdin next week. But the new production studio is PlayStation Productions. Super, unique title. But, so it will be there to herald all the TV and film adaptions. There's apparently a full slate already, in progress, which is mental.
For PlayStation
Game, film, TVs.
What?
Yeah. And the cool thing is that it is a TV film studio. So that means, assumedly, part of that slate would be some TV stuff as well. But Sean Layden, who is the Sony Interactive boss, he basically said, and word for word, he said they looked at Marvel and they basically want to do for video games what Marvel have done for comics, which is a very exciting thing to say.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I guess we can definitely say that Uncharted movie's still happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah. So I guess that's a definite on the cards. My prediction on top of that would probably be a God of War game, considering that game film, considering that
yeah.
just annihilated everything last year as well.
That'd be sick. Hell yeah.
And I wonder if they would do a Spider-Man game film.
Ooh, because it is Sony.
Yeah.
They do own everything.
Yeah, they own everything in that game except for Avengers stuff, but they're teamed up with the MCU and Marvel Studios, so they could still do that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess, they own Spider-Man.
Yeah, totally.
They own everything to do with Spider-Man. So, they could do that. He could pop in, or Miles and
Yeah.
Gwen and stuff could pop into
Their film
the
could...
PS4 universe.
Yeah, and their film could be... Spoilers for Spider-Man PS4 if you haven't played it. It's out, almost a year now. But their film could be about Miles and Peter. Admittedly, that would just be Into the Spider-Verse again, but...
Yeah, it's true.
It's basically... After a year, they reboot Into the Spider-Verse. They've done it with Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man. It's fine. But yeah, all very exciting. So we've got a bunch of game films on the way from Sony, who are the supreme story games as is. So should be pretty cool.
Absolutely, that's a great idea in terms of Sony being Sony. They're
already a film company.
Yeah, exactly. They've been making good films lately.
Yep.
Pretty good films lately.
Yep.
And yeah, great games. So let's combine them, see what happens.
Let's keep doing that. I mean, they made Jumanji, the good Jumanji. So
hey,
they're on their way.
And Spider-Verse.
I mean, that one's not too bad as well.
It's alright. Just best movie ever.
But a film that might not... Yeah, I mean, it legitimately has been given that title. A film that might not be great from a film universe is a Just Cause film, which is confirmed.
Oh.
It could be. I mean, there's a bare bones story in all of the games, which is Rico is here, and it might be written by the writer of John Wick, which is Derek Kolstad, which is exactly the name of the person who wrote John Wick. Like, that is the name... That has to be the name of the person who wrote John Wick. There's no way that's not it. Derek Kolstad. He sounds like the baddie of John Wick.
Really does. That's interesting. That very, very much makes sense, because Just Cause is very little story and all the action.
Yeah, which is that movie.
And from what I'm hearing, that's pretty much what John Wick seems to be.
A little bit. It's like there's a dog that died and that's about it.
Yeah.
This has also got on board, which may be a good or a bad thing. I don't know. I guess from an action standpoint, maybe it's good. It's got the producers of the Resident Evil films, which are not great films, but I've heard they're great as for what they are, as Resident Evil things. But also the producers behind Hitman, which everyone didn't see. I don't think anyone saw that film. But yeah, it's just another video game film that might never happen. But yeah, I think having the writer of John Wick, that made me a little bit intrigued.
Yes, yeah, that's a very good pairing up. It's almost just going to be another John Wick, but set in Colombia or something.
Yeah.
Cuba, wherever.
You've got a bit of news, Joshua.
I do.
About the films, about some grumpy people.
Some more grumpy people. Final bit of film news for today. As most people have probably heard, it sounds... Well, the rumours online are that Robert Pattinson and the X-Men guy, Nick Holt, are currently battling it out to become Batman. I'm sure this is an actual battle that is
I think so.
Happening. Fist to fist.
Yeah.
That's not the phrase.
I hope not.
But I saw an article tonight, which is just fantastic and absolutely 100% expected, that DC fans are petitioning. There's a literal petition online that you can sign to say that Robert Pattinson should not be Batman. Which is so dumb. They're just going, oh, it's the guy from Twilight, let's not have him. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely why they're petitioning for that. Don't think I've seen many other Robert Pattinson films or like him in many other things other than like Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. That one movie.
That one little indie film.
That thing. But yeah, I've heard that he's like really good in everything
I've seen him
that he does.
In High Life and in Cosmopolis. Real serious Cosmopolis especially. Like, he's a good actor. Just like, I mean, it's the curse of the Batman, I think, because Michael Keaton, Beetlejuice, people were like, he's too funny, he can't play Batman. He made the character exist in film, so not bad. Admittedly, when they then recast for 2 other films, not as great. Then, of course, Ben Affleck had the same treatment. People were like, but he did Daredevil, and that was bad. And it's like, he worked as Batman, didn't he? You all shut up, and now you're sad that he's not Batman. So
yeah, he was a good Batman.
Yeah, he was a good Bruce Wayne. And Robert Pattinson, I think, admittedly, he may end up being a bit of like reverse Andrew Garfield situation, where he's a really good Bruce Wayne, but as Batman, it's hard to take in. But we'll see.
I think it's just another one of those times where give him a chance.
Yeah.
Just, let it happen. You and I are always like, if we haven't seen anything yet, who's to say whether it's a good choice or not? And neither of these guys have actually been chosen yet.
No.
Maybe none of them will.
Neither-
Who was
yeah,
that kid
totally.
that was supposed to be Spider-Man?
Yeah, I don't know, I can't be bothered now. Oh, Dylan O'Brien? No, he was one of the choices, many of the choices. The idiot kid from Miss Peregrine's, that guy.
Yeah,
Ace Butterfield.
Asa Butterfield. Yeah, dumb.
Just sit back and let this movie happen, basically.
yeah.
It's
Like
stupid.
it's been going like this whole the Batman movie has been a thing for so long.
Yeah.
Just let it come out,
Let it
please. Stop
happen.
fighting, stop being angry.
And now to the small screen before we go to the comic and then we go to the Marvel, because I've still got a lot of news, it's mental. It's Black Mirror, and Season 5 dropped its trailer around about when Game of Thrones was bad and everyone wanted to just look at something else. And it looks very cool.
It does. There's so many actors
I
in it.
know!
So many people that I
Very
know.
excited. I mean, I want this one. I don't think I've ever watched a trailer for a Black Mirror series and wanted it. I want this one. I like everything that's in this trailer. We've got Andrew Scott, we've got Angry Rice. I failed to say that name just then. We've got Miley Cyrus. Who was the other one? There was another man.
Falcon?
Oh yeah, Anthony Mackie. That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah. And like a lot of other people.
Yes, and if people don't know the first two people that Will mentioned, it's
Moriarty.
Moriarty from Cumberbatch's series.
Yeah.
And the blonde girl that's on TV at from Homecoming.
Or in The Nice Guys, it's Ryan Gosling's daughter. It's been a long time. I can't remember the movie exactly.
Who knows these days?
I don't know. So all of these episodes are dropping July 4th, so it's super soon, and I'm super excited.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But something that we don't know when it's dropping, it's a coming soon thing, and out of the back of Game of Thrones, HBO knew exactly what to do to keep people on their HBO subscription service. They gave us a trailer for Westworld Season 3, and even having seen this season, the one before, I have no idea where this trailer came from.
It's really weird. I didn't watch much of season 2.
Yeah.
But what the hell?
Yeah.
Like where are we? What is happening?
So the cool thing about it is, because they played it on television after Game of Thrones, people didn't know it was Westworld until Dolores shows up. Like, people were like, oh, what's this new show with Jesse Pinkman in it? Like, what's all this about? And then it's like, oh, okay. So
Very, yeah.
yes, I don't want to spoil Westworld Season 2, even though it has been out for a long time. But yeah, I can vaguely see, but there's just no one in this. Like, no one is in this except for Dolores. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
It's about as twisty as Westworld always has been.
Yeah, they managed to make the trailer as twisty as an entire series. It's insane. I'm very excited for that. That'll probably be early next year, if not late next year.
And I'm sure there's like 1,000 trailer breakdowns that are like, look at all these links,
Yeah.
and it's like nothing.
There's just air.
What a sentence. It's just air.
And you know what else is just air to me? Napoleon Dynamite.
Where is this going?
It has a sequel on a comic book page.
What? What?
So IDW, the famous publishing house that buys every license possible,
Apparently, yeah.
they're giving us a 4-issue run. When I say us, I mean you and people that enjoyed this movie. A 4-issue run in September, and it's set after... I'm going to read this because I don't understand it.
That's cool.
And don't even try to explain the movie because I don't want to know. It's set after Pedro's presidency, and it will be threatened as he's accused of cheating during the election. So that sounds like the most boring possible premise of a comic book run, but from what I know about the film, I'm sure it will be insane.
It really does. That doesn't sound interesting at all. I'll buy it and read it and review it.
Please do.
Yeah, that sounds really average.
Yeah, it's strange. There you go.
That's so weird.
Maybe there's a reason there is a 4-issue run. I'm just one sec, sorry.
Good. Wheels go on, and I am back! Whoa!
I'm so sorry, that was so loud.
No, that's all good. It's all good.
But from a comic we're like not too sure about, to an entire universe that we're very sure of. It's Marvel news. In a couple of weeks we'll have like a cool little bit that like goes here when I say Marvel news. But for now, I'm just going to say Marvel news.
Cool.
And first up, it's a documentary series that was teased earlier this year. They're all kind of 10 to 15 minute long mini docos on the history of Marvel Comics. And there's one up now, the first part is up now, on the history of the X-Men comics, which is
sick.
Real exciting. So it's on YouTube,
on
yeah.
On the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes, on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel. And they've got
awesome.
legitimate people, all the people, whoever's alive, that worked on these films. I didn't mean that to talk about Stan Lee. I just mean there's a lot of people that probably are dead.
Yes.
But yeah, so they got a bunch of actual comic artists and writers to talk about the history of X-Men. And from the little bit I watched just before, it's not entirely the good part. It's like, so we did this and it sucked. So that's really exciting. That's what I want to hear is writers being like, so that didn't work.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. So yeah, part 1 is up now.
And I really hope that particular episode doesn't make me really want to start reading X-Men comics because there are far too many.
Yeah. That is totally
I just can't be bothered with them.
That's totally a series that both of us have just never touched.
Yeah, we're just like the movies, the comics.
Yeah.
It's only Dupe.
I did read, I didn't read Dupe.
Been into Dupe.
Dupe's great, but I read House of M. Wait, no, not House of M.
No more Spidey.
Yeah, no more Mutants one. What one's that called?
Yes. Cool. Yeah. And then I've read Avengers vs. X-Men, which
yes,
I read mostly for the Avengers.
Yeah, well, there you go. But someone we like as well is Spider-Gwen, and at the end of this run, for God's sake, stop. She is coming to the 616. I'll get to why I yelled that, but first off, basically she'll be living in Earth 65, which is her Earth, but she'll be studying in 616, just so that she can easily get into crossovers and stuff with Pete and Miles. As if there wasn't enough going on with her entire thing.
I'm like out of touch with what's happened since Secret Wars and everything, because I thought that she...
You thought there was one Earth, like that was the whole point of that event. Basically.
Yeah. I thought they put everyone on one Earth to battle. That was Doctor Doom. That's what I talked about in the Fantastic Four catch-up thing. And then, I thought they put them all on one Earth, and so she was still on one Earth.
No.
Like on the 616 remake Earth.
No.
Huh.
So at some point that changed. Because obviously Spider-Verse, the Spider-Geddon still existed, which was... her and her own Earth coming back through and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, so it all went back. But what I yelled about is that when this happens, it'll be issue 1, and it will be the 5th relaunch of Spider-Gwen since 2014.
Oh, freaking damn it.
And it will be entirely titled, because at the moment it's Ghost Spider Spider-Gwen, it'll be entirely titled Ghost Spider this time.
So we've gone Spider-Gwen, Radioactive Spider-Gwen.
Yep.
There
was like a middle one somewhere, and then Ghost Spider
Spider-Gwen.
And then Ghost... It's just... I don't like it. I don't like how they're treating my girl. Our girl.
Guys, calm down. Our girl.
Yeah.
Our girl.
Our girl. Our girl. Kevin Feige did an AMA on Reddit. And there's just a few little things, that a little bit of interesting tidbits. On the Disney Plus show, someone was talking about how they love the one-shots and whether these will kind of be like those one-shot adventures. And Feige said, it's tremendously exciting that we now have Disney Plus series where we get to do that on a grand scale with many of the characters you know and love. So basically, there'll be one-shot series, is what I think is to be taken from that. There won't be multiple series on a single character. It'll be more like these great adventures with a self-contained title. So there might be more Falcon series, but it won't be called that. It won't be called Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
basically.
Cool. So maybe they'll like spread out and do other things separately.
So I quite like that. I like the idea that there's multiple, but it's not like season 1 and season 2 of this thing. Like obviously, if they bring back Agent Carter, they might do that. But I like the idea of one-shot series because that's how you do a good story.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. That's cool. I like it.
Yeah. And on top of that, he also said that the shows will weave into the films totally and completely, which is so good to hear.
That's so exciting, but also so daunting and terrifying because it means I've actually got to watch everything.
Well, look, the first series is coming out in August 2020, and there's no sign of another one anytime soon. So It's not going to be Arrow Flash level of daunting, I don't think.
Good.
And
Please.
they're only so far we're looking at 6 to 7 episodes a series, so they're not long.
Okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be good. And on top of that, the biggest thing I think to come out of it was that someone asked, I should have gotten their Reddit handle, but they said, are there any plans to incorporate the 10 rings from the first Iron Man film, or the real Mandarin teased in All Hail the King, which was a one-shot, in the future? And Kevin Feige simply wrote, yes.
Yes!
Which is very exciting.
Oh, man, that's going to be freaking awesome. Hopefully we get Trevor Slattery back as well, just for that little bit, because he's been taken to the Mandarin at the end of that one shot. So, yeah, let's get that going.
And,
hell yeah.
Shang-Chi, which is a film that is happening, is apparently, in the comics, he crosses the Mandarin and the Ten Rings. So, possibly we get the real Mandarin as a villain in Shang-Chi.
That is very good. It makes sense as well, because in the comics, the Mandarin is a Japanese man.
Yeah.
And Shang-Chi is
one of those Japanese men
as well.
Yes.
So, there you go. That very, very much makes sense.
Yeah, I'm very keen for that. We got some possibly official details from Deadline about Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, that Emily Van Camp will be coming back as Sharon, which hopefully they make a joke or something of Cap and her, if that's, a thing, but let's not think about for that too long. And Daniel Brawl will be coming back as Zemo, which I think is the most exciting thing out of everything that we know. And also they did confirm that director Carrie Scotland.
That's a name.
I don't really do names very well. She'll be directing it, and that it'll be about 6 episodes. She directed a few episodes of The Handmaid's Tale, episode 4 of Punisher, and like a bunch of like Walking Dead and all that kind of stuff. So she's an old hand of taking on a franchise and doing it well, because apparently her Handmaid's Tale episodes are really good.
Yeah, cool. And all of those things are very popular.
They are. So she hasn't killed anything.
That's great. Yeah. Nice.
And we know it will be set post-Endgame because of certain things relating to Falcon. I mean, you should have seen the film by now, but you know what I mean. That. But onto a little bit of DC, and then we're going to leave. Well, you are.
I am.
Batwoman has a trailer, the new show for CW. What did you think of that?
There's a lot of people online that are taking one of the things that she says and then comparing it to everything else that she does in the trailer. Like, she says, I'm not about to let a man take credit for a woman's work after she broke into Bruce Wayne's Batcave, stole his suit, and basically took up his identity.
Yeah.
You
so
know.
maybe don't dress as a man.
Yeah. Maybe
Might
be
help.
your own thing. And I guess she sort of becomes her own thing. But she can't be surprised when people don't realize that she's not Batman.
Yeah, so that'll be coming out later this year, and I probably won't watch it, to be honest.
I might. Yeah, I'll try and like maybe watch a few episodes or something.
I mean, yeah, we'll probably do a podcast on the first few episodes or something, but there's no way I'm going to stay on board with that thing.
Probably
I can't do it with those shows anymore. And rounding out the news, a little bit of a positive news to end it on. Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman 1984, is now lamenting the fact that she asked for the film to be pushed back to next year. She said that she's seen a cut of the movie and that it's so good that she's just dying to put the movie out. Like, she just wants people to see the movie, which is very exciting for a director to go, the movie that I want is actually happening. Because that just doesn't happen anymore.
That's sick. That is such good news.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So it's coming out next year?
Yes.
Very good.
But yeah, so that's very exciting, because that's a movie that I'm very excited to have a sequel for. Although, apparently, this isn't a sequel as such.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like a standalone film, because Steve Trevor's back in, like, 80s clothes. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to know what this is, whether it's the start of a new DC universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. There's a whole heap of news that we just said.
That's a lot of news.
It's a lot of news. Before I kick you out, Josh, have you been doing anything interesting lately?
I did get A Plague Tale Innocence this week. So I played that the other day. I'm currently editing a video. It's been a freaking insane week in my life, and oh man, I'm so tired. But
you need to go
I'll have that video up later this week, hopefully. And I've just been reading more Superior Spider-Man.
Good boy.
And it's still great. Loving it. So good. How about you? What you up to?
I've actually kind of really sunk my teeth into the Thanos book, which I always forget the name of. A Titan Among Us, I think it's called.
Titan Consumed?
That's the one. Yeah,
Yes.
Titan Among Us is the comic series.
Gods Among Us.
That's the one. And it's really good, but it's not a kid's book, as I thought it was.
Oh.
Even though the pages
Yeah.
are big, the writing's big, there's stuff about Thanos, because it starts in his adolescence. There's stuff about Thanos and, like, having sexual tendencies. Like, his father mistakes, like, something he says for him asking for sexual workers. It's not a kid's book, despite being in the kids section at Big W, so
It
someone
was.
should probably tell them.
That's where I got mine.
And that's where I got mine.
Holy crap.
So, yeah, he actually... I mean, I don't want to spoil stuff in the movie, but in the book, but there's quite a lot of that. You know, don't give this one to your kids, but give it a read yourself, because it's very good. Something just happened in the book, and I'm like, where are we going now? That's what I actually said at 1 a.m. But on top of that, I've really dived into Days Gone now. I also set up my speaker system really well and turned it up really loud to enjoy a bit of Spider-Man. And then I played Days Gone. And so I haven't been scared in the game yet. And it's not, I don't really get scared by stuff in games. And I know the thing about the tiny children being in the back of trunks. I know that because I edited a bunch of promo videos for PlayStation. I saw it happen in so many bits.
Yep.
So I've known it as I've been opening cars. I'm like, here it comes. And it hadn't happened at all for about an hour and a half. So I was like, so I obviously had let my guard down. Remember, my speaker system is still at full ball. And as you've played the game, if you've had it happen to you, it's like the second you press the button, the thing happens. The kid
Yep.
jumps out of the boot. And so I just went over, as I had done for the past hour and a half, pressed the button, the bass exploded, the music exploded, this thing happened, and I almost shit myself. Really?
And you
It's
can
the
do
only-
that now.
I literally can, and it's literally a problem. And yeah, like, it's the only scare I've had in the game, but my god, I don't think I've ever been scared like that in any media.
Was it that it happened, or was it more so the sound was just that
Well, it was
loud?
definitely the sound, but it just the act, like how jarring it is in the game. As soon as it
Sure.
happens, it's like, oh god.
Yeah.
But definitely the sound would have helped.
Yeah, because I think I've only had it happen like once or twice right at the start. I've only played maybe like 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm probably at that mark too.
I'm very much like a loot absolutely everything kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing anything and looting it, but I haven't come across that yet.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
for
boy.
a long time. So I'm not looking forward to it now that you've reminded me that
No,
exists.
it's just very scary, because nothing else in the game is very scary, except for, you know, a lot of the gameplay. But it's pretty good. I'm getting there. I think it's not as bad as people have been chalking it up to be. It's just a
Yeah.
fine game.
I've heard that it gets really good.
I'd imagine so.
But yeah, after a couple of hours of me spending with it as well, that wasn't a sentence. Yeah, I started kind of actually gelling with it more.
Yeah,
After the
absolutely.
sort of third, maybe fourth hour, depending on how much I've played. It took a little while to get there, but yeah, I think I'm starting to understand what they're going for.
Yeah. It's a slow draw, but it's like, that's the universe you're in, I think.
Yeah.
But Josh, you have to leave now.
Okay.
What do you like? What do you like in you? Do you like chunky stuff, Josh?
It depends contextually what it is. If it's a drink that is not meant to have chunky stuff in it, then probably not. If there's chunky stuff in my Coke, unless it's like pieces of ice, then no.
Yeah, I'd be out on that.
If it's in soup, then yes, I'm in.
Because I'll have a good chunky part. I'm here with Sam. Sam's seen Game of Thrones.
Yes, I
Have you
have.
seen all of it?
Yeah, like I started watching it. I think it was probably when series 3 was airing.
Right.
I started to get into it.
Yeah. Did
So-
you watch from there, or you went back and then?
I went back and watched it from the start.
Yeah.
And then eventually I met up with like where it was currently
Cool.
at. And then
Oh, wow.
so then I've like
You really
followed-
powered through.
Yeah.
Actually. Jeez. Yeah. Wow.
So there's been a lot of years.
So, doing that, you got really invested, and the show is finished now. And if you haven't already seen it and you want to watch Game of Thrones, I'm giving Sam free reign to talk about everything. So go away if you don't want spoilers. But yeah, you've been on this massive
Yeah.
journey now, and it's over.
Yes.
How are you feeling, Sam?
Very, very, very disappointed. I mean, that is like the general consensus from anyone you speak to about it, really.
Yeah.
There's only been... Because like, as soon as it was over, I jumped on the YouTube and I wanted to look at what people thought, what people were talking about, the goods and the bads. There were people who were like, yeah, it was good for this reason, but it was a very small bunch of people. The rest were mainly like, this was the biggest letdown since like the new Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, whoa, okay. But yeah, it was just like, because, I mean, now I'm going to go on about why.
Yeah.
But, like, you've got these characters who have been built up over 8 seasons.
Yes.
Was it 8 seasons?
I think it's 9. I think this is the 9th.
9? Look,
I don't know.
There's been so many. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you've got these characters who've been built up over multiple seasons, so you get to understand the characteristics of their character, and what they're all about, what their morals are.
You know, in a general sense, where they're headed, or like, and I say this because I know where you're going. You're on a journey with them. If there's a certain amount of episodes left, you expect there to be a path to where they need to go.
Of course, yeah. And it's the same as in like the MCU.
Yes.
Like, you know what each character is about, and you know how they react to things. You know that Captain America is a good guy.
Yeah.
And that he's always going to be a good guy and do the right thing.
And if he needed to change, there would be a lot of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he was going to change, there would be a lot of reasoning behind that, and you'd understand that. Now, in Game of Thrones, that does happen in the sense that they kind of just threw the morals of these characters out the window in this last season. There is a thing on YouTube go around calling the writers Dumb and Dumber.
Nice.
Because
they're D&D, aren't they? Or is it? Yeah.
Because, this season, like, there's... Through Game of Thrones, there was a lot of, like, fortunes being told, and, like, you know, certain characters were like... Because there was a woman who could... I can't remember entirely because there's so much to this bloody show. Basically there were predictions on what certain characters would go through and what would happen to them by the end of this show.
Yeah.
And particularly for Jon Snow, there was a lot of stuff that was building up to him in this last season and what his character was going to go through. And then basically everything that was, you know, there for his taking had been given to other characters to take care of.
Oh, wow.
So there were a lot of things where they would happen and we'd be like, yeah, look, shouldn't that have been for Jon?
Yeah, right.
You know, like, it's the last series. Like, you want each character to have a satisfying moment that you'll remember in this season.
To bring it back to Endgame, which was the bookend to that. It's like
exactly.
Everyone has their moment.
Yeah, exactly. And in Endgame, like, even leading up to that, everyone's had their moment and then some.
Yeah.
You know? Like, throughout the series, not just this series, but, like, throughout the whole show, you know, everyone's had their moments in Game of Thrones, but you'd really want that, just like that fan service moment in like this last season.
This is the series. I should say season. I'm
Season,
sure people are getting pissed, but we're Doctor Who
series,
fans.
Yeah.
And you say we're talking series.
Yeah.
But whatever.
And the last episode, I was really, really excited for this last episode. I was driving to our mate's house, and because a bunch of us all watch it together, I was like, this is going to be the last time that we all sit around to watch this and talk about it.
It's great. It's the end of an event series.
It's the end of one of the biggest TV series to ever be made. And leaving, I was like, what a waste of my time.
Yeah, wow.
Because it's just there's a lot of stuff that's a letdown.
Because a lot of Game of Thrones has always been a thing that people have said this will never happen again on TV. Again, MCU. It's like it's never going to happen again on television. This long thing, event television, and it's like. From the off this season, it seemed like people were like,
Yeah, people have been very unhappy with this season purely because of the writing.
Yeah.
Like, the acting's been great. Some of the episodes have been really well shot.
Yeah. But it's just the actual story.
It's just the story and the writing itself.
Well, and they also had the books to base stuff in as well.
Not off this last season.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So, this last season has been purely the writers doing the work.
And it shows.
And it really shows. But yeah, like, basically, like, just off the top of my head, the way I can describe it for you to understand, imagine watching Endgame.
Yeah.
Hulk does the snap.
Yep.
Spoilers if you haven't seen Endgame, but if you haven't by now,
it's fine. We're allowed to talk about spoilers now.
So yeah, imagine Hulk does the snap.
Yep.
They realize everything's good,
Yeah.
and then it just cuts.
It's just the end of the movie.
Like
Yeah,
you'd be
You're like,
you would have enjoyed what you've seen.
yeah, but you want more.
But you would have been like, okay, where's like those big moments that we're all looking out for?
That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
There's a third act missing where everyone has
there's a lot of things in this last episode that were just very anticlimactic.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd expect it to be this really big, powerful moment.
Yeah.
And it's nothing.
It's like a checklist.
Like there's no score in the background.
Yeah,
It's
wow.
just like this thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can I say like?
I've told. Yeah.
So Jon Snow ends up killing Daenerys Targaryen because she is basically talking about going on this worldwide conquest of having everyone bend the knee to her and her being the ruler of all the realms and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Jon sees that as not very good because the episode before she basically took out this whole town even when they had surrendered.
Yeah, right.
And Jon was really not okay with that. And like that episode was really cool because there was a lot of stuff happening. It was really well shot. So going into this,
So you had, even
come
though
off
the
that-
season's been a bit average, it's like you had the pick me
yeah,
up.
yeah. So episode 5, episode 5 was like sort of like the pick me up. So going into episode 6, I was like, well, coming out of 5, that was really entertaining, and a lot of stuff happened. So you'd think episode 6 would just keep that mojo going.
And finish it off.
But it just slowed down.
wow.
And it was... So, basically, Jon Snow ends up killing her. And there's no music in the background. There's no build-up. They're just having a conversation. And they go to hug.
Oh,
and
man.
he just stabs her.
Oh, man. And, like, from what I know of Game of Thrones, it's all about twisting what you'd think would happen.
Yeah.
But, like... Even you describing it, I'm like, I know exactly where that would be going.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't shock me.
And, like, it did get pointed out to me on a YouTube video that this one guy had. And he was saying how when you go back and watch it, you can see Jon trying to change her mind and hoping that she eventually realizes that what she's doing is wrong, and then she says, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that. And that was him giving her one last chance before he killed her.
Yeah.
So I went back and watched it, and I was like... Oh, that's really like
cool.
it was pretty cool because he's literally saying to her like, do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, right.
And then he's like questioning her, and he keeps on questioning her,
Yeah.
and she keeps on giving the same response.
Like,
And he's like, well, 3 strikes, you're out.
Yeah.
And like a part of me didn't like the fact that he killed her because I would have kind of liked to see how her plans rolled out and what would have happened.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of like, to take it to Marvel again, it's like killing Thanos before he gets the stones kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much, because like she's talking about all these things that are going to happen, and you see people starting to turn on her.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, it'd be really cool if it was just like a war within all the main characters having this big fight against the Mother of Dragons. Like, I thought that would be freaking cool.
Yeah.
But it ends up just being Jon killing her, and then like going into the last episode, I was like, okay, someone's gonna die probably. Who's it gonna be, or how many people are gonna die?
Yeah.
And then when she kind of died, I didn't even really react because they had just changed her character so much that you didn't care about her anymore.
Okay.
Because she was this person who was all about peace and like giving people chances and stuff like that. And they've just turned that around. And like in the episode before this last one, when she burnt down this village, even though they're surrendering, like that was a big moment for her character because she's like changed.
She's always been about that.
She's always been about like, you know, doing the right thing-ish. And like, you know, she's always been a merely sensible character.
Yeah.
And then she just went full massacre on this town, just burnt them to a crisp with her dragon. And you could see her going a bit crazy, like with like the power that she had.
Yeah.
And it was very off-putting. Like you couldn't help but sometimes watch it and cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this isn't...
You haven't
this
earned
isn't
this
her.
kind of...
Like this isn't you. Like they shouldn't be doing this. So when she died, I was a bit like, okay, cool.
Yep, that's done there, I guess.
Who's next? You
And because it's so late in the episode, I'm sure you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
We're almost there now.
Yeah, well, yeah, like, and we had a mate who, he was like keeping track of like the time. The episode was only an hour and 13 minutes. I was expecting it to be at least like an hour and a half, an hour 40. So as soon, like, because he said that before the episode started.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I just started doubting it straight away.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I don't think they can do that much in an hour
Not
13.
fun.
But yeah, so by the end of this, she's got one dragon left, and this dragon senses that she's been killed.
Yeah, right.
And the dragon flies up because they're in this tower. She's standing near the throne, and she's sort of looking at it like, this is mine now, because she's kind of like defeated everyone.
Is this the Game of the Throne?
This is the Game of the Throne.
Yeah.
And another thing is that like everyone was so looking forward to seeing who was going to sit on this throne and take it as their own. So she's now been killed.
Yeah.
So
it's not her.
So it's not her.
And Johnny Boy's like,
so
nah.
then her dragon comes along.
Yeah.
And melts it.
Oh.
And he just burns the throne altogether.
Holy shit.
And I found it a bit interesting.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know, because we know in like other universes and TV shows and movies that like you sort of like understand how characters interact. And I was assuming that with her and her dragons there was a level of communication that was telepathic maybe. So I sort of thought maybe she had told her dragon to do that in case she died. Because it was the case.
So if I can't have it,
if I don't get it, no one gets it. Which I thought would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the dragon melts the throne.
Yeah.
Picks her up in his paw and then just takes off.
Yeah, right.
And then we have a time jump of a couple weeks.
Wow.
And
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have a time jump, like, and we don't know that.
Oh, okay. It's one of those ones.
It cuts to the next scene, and then they mention that they've had John in custody for a while now after killing the Mother of Dragons.
Yeah.
They kind of leave it up to you to work it out.
Right,
Which
okay.
is annoying.
Yeah.
Because if you aren't paying enough attention,
It just
or
happens.
if you can't acknowledge the cues that they're giving you to say, hey, yeah, we are a bit ahead of time,
Yeah.
then you wouldn't really know.
Yeah, right.
And then they're basically talking about who they're going to make king.
Yeah.
And there's a guy called Samwise, and he stands up and he goes, why don't we leave it up to everyone, like the general public?
Oh.
Basically making like,
Wow, okay,
you know, a
yeah,
thing.
cool.
And they all just laugh in his face and tell him to sit down.
Yeah.
And so they leave it up to the leading lords and ladies to choose a king. Look, I don't know if I'm even calling these people by the right terms, but
That's fine.
it just makes sense.
It's the Game of the
Like
Thrones.
I said, I've watched it very lightly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So then, John's got a brother called Bran, and Bran's been in a wheelchair for like the past few seasons.
Is that because I've seen the first episode? That's the kid that got pushed
The little
out.
kid, yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah. So since then,
Yeah,
he's
cool.
been in a wheelchair.
Right.
And
that makes sense.
He's done nothing this whole season.
Yeah.
Like they'll be having a meeting in a room, and the camera will just pan across, and you just see him quietly sitting in the corner, just with the seediest look in his eyes.
Good.
And I've really come to hate him this
Yeah.
season because he does nothing. And then like someone will ask him a question, and it's just like
Just the stare.
silence.
Yeah,
it's
wow.
just 30 seconds of silence and a stare, and then he'll just be like, possibly.
Oh god.
Just like the most like vague responses ever. So then they go, why don't we make Bran king?
Jesus Christ.
And then they name him Bran the Broken.
Oh wow. That feels like a joke. That like they might as well have gone. We can't decide. He's already sitting down, so he might as well be.
It was basically, well, you're the last male Stark.
Yeah. Okay.
John's in jail, and then his sister Sansa goes, we all know that he can't walk and that he can't bear children. And then they still agree to make him king, even though he doesn't really want to be king.
What the fuck?
So then he makes Tyrion his right hand.
Yeah.
Because they were going to execute Tyrion.
That's ironic because he had no hands in Infinity War.
Yeah. Yeah, so he makes him his right hand because
Yeah.
they were going to execute him along with Jon. And then Bran basically sentences Jon back to the Night's Watch,
Yeah.
I think it is. Which means that he has to live out his days as one of these knights who can't be with women or anything. He's
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
basically live solo for the rest of his life, which I guess is better than no death. But
Yeah.
I mean, you know, way to kick a man while he's down.
A bit in the literal balls.
So yeah, so it was just things like that. Like
Yeah.
it's just like you would never expect Bran to be king, and he does nothing this whole season.
Totally,
Why
yeah.
would you make someone king who has had no important role for the last 8 episodes?
Was he?
or 6 episodes?
Would you have put him as king in a previous season? Like, would
No,
you?
not at
No,
all.
you never would.
Because
have. Yeah, okay.
he's a child.
Yeah, yeah.
He's literally a child.
Yeah.
Like Jon. Because in this season, you find out that Jon's mother had an affair with the brother of Daenerys Targaryen.
Right.
And you find out that Jon is actually her nephew.
Oh, wow.
So he's a Targaryen, not a Stark.
Yeah.
So he's able to, like, ride dragons and stuff with her.
Cool.
And that then makes Jon the rightful heir to the throne. So you're like,
why not just him?
Yeah, why not just him?
Yeah.
And then in the episode, I believe it's episode 3, there's obviously, like, the Night King and all the White Walkers.
Yeah. I feel like you could rant about that for a
Oh,
while.
I could rant on about this. But yeah, basically there was a prophecy that Jon would kill the Night King.
Yeah.
And his little sister Arya takes him out.
Yeah.
Just with a jab of her little shank.
It's literally the scene from The Last Jedi.
Literally
where she
the
drops
scene from The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So that annoyed a lot of people as well because Jon, that was
So this is another one of those things where it's like they've taken it from
that was
Jon.
another one of those things
Yeah.
where they've taken it from a character who it was meant for and given it to someone else.
Yeah.
And I was just a bit like...
That's a bit strange.
Yeah, this whole season has been very off-putting. I know I've ranted on a lot.
No, but that's what we do here.
That's what we do when we're not recording.
Yeah.
Like there was another thing where like a wolf that has been with Jon
Yes.
since like the start of the series, like this big white wolf, and basically he's been like MIA just because they can't afford like
The CG,
to use
yeah,
him,
right.
like, CGI, and like there's a moment in I believe episode 5 where Jon is leaving and the wolf is just standing off to the side looking at him, and you want him to go up and like give the wolf like a pat because this
say
wolf
goodbye,
has been through everything with him. He was there when he died.
Because there was a puppy in like the first season.
He was there when he died. He waited by Jon's body until he came back to life. Like this wolf has been with Jon like this whole story, and Jon just gives him a swift nod and keeps walking. And we were like, "Are you kidding me?"
Because I guess at that point you're like, "That's it."
Yeah,
Probably him and the wolf. Yeah.
At that point, you're like, he's never going to see this damn thing again.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that was the worst thing that could have happened. But then in this final episode, he does give the wolf a bit of a pat, which is great. Like, that was probably, like, the best moment. Like, all of my mates...
Yeah.
That was the one moment where we were like, yeah, they did it! The rest of it, we were just like, we don't care.
Because, you should be cheering the whole friggin' episode,
I know. Like, there were very... Like, the first 10 minutes, there were very, very cool moments. Like, very cool moments. There was a moment where Daenerys is walking out to talk to this massive crowd of soldiers she has, and her dragon lands behind her and flails out his wings before he lands, and the wings end up looking like they're coming out of her back.
Oh, cool.
Because she's like the mother of dragons, you know? And that was a really cool shot. I really liked that. But other than that, there's nothing to impress you in this episode. Wow. Nothing.
I constantly from my head, I'm just like, this show... It's so big.
I mean, if you're listening and you haven't watched Game of Thrones, I would definitely recommend watching it. Because it's still interesting for you to see it for yourself, and then you can give your own verdict on it. Because there are some really cool moments in this whole show, and some really good series and episodes. But I just wouldn't really get that hyped up for the last season.
You could even just stop before this one and just leave it as
I mean, you could
is.
even just watch the last 13 minutes of the last episode. Because even going in, I was like, I said to him, well, I bet the end of this is going to be a montage of like each individual character who's still alive and like what they're
doing
up to.
this stuff,
And it was that. I was just like, I like the music started playing, like the theme song.
You're like, oh, here it goes.
Like you just hear that, and I was like, oh, montage is coming. And then this montage just happens of everyone doing their own thing and what they're up to now, and it was just this series was just a massive letdown, and like even on I believe it was on Channel 9 News the other night, they were talking about it, and they even said it was a very disappointing ending to a TV series, and if they're talking about that on the news,
and with respect, because they don't give much Avengers,
but like if they're talking about that on like national TV, you can see that it's not just like really passionate fanboys having a whinge.
It's not a critical thing.
No,
it's like this is
like a proper
bad.
problem.
Like
Like in all the series I've watched, like I've watched Doctor Who, like all like
Smallville,
and probably one of the better ones was Breaking Bad. But they've all had
The Walking Dead a little bit.
Yeah, The Walking Dead. I'm catching up on that. But like Breaking Bad had such a great ending to its TV series. It wraps up everything. Still leaves some things open for you to sort of think about, but it doesn't leave it with like these hanging things that are just there, and it wasn't in any way a crap ending.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
And in a show like Smallville, like that wrapped up really nicely. Doctor Who like
has
its
some good
individual
endings.
series
Yeah, yeah.
have great endings. Because that show is still going, even if it is still going, who knows at this point. BBC, sort your shit out,
Just
please.
work it out.
But yeah, like for a show like Game of Thrones, being the most highly rated HBO TV show ever, probably, for them to just like
Drop the
slap
ball
us in
and,
the
yeah.
face like this, it's really, really bad. And like there was talks of people like cancelling their services with them and everything after this because they were like, this is bullshit, you know, blah blah blah. If I'm allowed to swear, I don't know.
That's fine.
But yeah, people were just really, really unhappy.
Yeah. And that's why
with
as soon
this.
as it finished, they played a Westworld trailer. It was like, they knew straight away, they were
Just
like,
to soften the blow.
shit.
But it was really funny because I watched, there was a thing where someone interviewed Kit Harington who plays Jon Snow. It must have been recently, but they said, if you could describe the last episode of Game of Thrones in one word, what would you say? And he just stood there with a blankets expression. He just goes, disappointing.
Oh, really?
And I
Holy
was like,
crap.
and I was like, and like you'd think he'd say disappointing
As a joke.
in terms of like you'd want more.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're disappointed
But
that you didn't
it's
get
like,
more.
it's just bad.
But it's just bad. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So yeah, there's a lot of there could be people out there that did.
Yeah, no, if you did enjoy
it,
this,
yeah.
let us know.
Yeah,
but-
if you did enjoy it, let us know. Let us know why, because I'm very curious as to why. I mean, did you watch the same show? I don't know. No. But I'm sure, like people are allowed to like and dislike whatever they
yeah,
like. But
people like Thor: The Dark World
yeah,
somehow. Ironically, even though it's like this will never happen again, and it's disappointing, it's also probably, I don't think a show will ever do this again.
No.
I feel like this is also a big thing for shows to just never fail so hard on their
100%,
final
yeah.
run.
Yeah.
So do you want more? Because I know there's lots of spin-offs and stuff. We don't know if they're prequels or they're sequels or what.
Apparently there is a prequel series coming out about the White Walkers. and
Okay.
how- like that would be the
That
one thing
would
I'd
interest
like.
me.
Yeah,
I'd be intrigued
because
by it.
they're like pretty much zombies that just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
then they get rid of them
yeah,
halfway through the series.
And like I'd love to see how the Night King came about.
Yeah.
Like how he has this power over all these undead people.
And because that was a big thing that people were like, maybe Bran's the Night King and like
Yeah.
amazing theories
Yeah.
and then just
Yeah,
nothing.
there was a big thing because Bran's got this really dumb ability where his eyes just roll back into his head and
Yeah.
like there was a moment in one of the episodes where there's this big fight happening.
Yeah.
And Bran just goes, I'm just gonna take a time out for a minute, and he just leans back, his eyes roll back into his head.
Yeah.
He goes into some crows and just flies off for the episode. And I'm like, and now you're king.
Yeah, totally.
Bran the
He
Broken.
was like, I'm out.
Yeah. But like there was there's a heap of theories
Yeah,
that connected Bran to the Night King. And then right before the Night King died, him and Bran had a bit of a moment.
Yeah, right.
And the Night King, like Bran was still in that sort of trance state, and he's been surrounded by White Walkers. The Night King just sort of walked out in front of him and just stood there and stared at him. He hasn't tried to kill him. He hasn't done anything.
okay.
And then Arya jumps out of freaking nowhere.
So it was like,
just-
it could have almost been a
Something
thing.
could have happened, yeah. But
yeah.
what I was thinking, I was like, man, it'd be cool if like the Night King turns him, but as an undead, he can still use his ability,
Yeah.
like to like affect everyone else, Because I thought that'd be pretty sick to
Yeah.
bring in. But then Arya
Nothing.
just comes out of nowhere.
So I guess they
and,
could maybe expand upon that if they wanted
100%, yeah. Like they could definitely expand on like the whole Night King and like the White Walkers thing. Like I want more in the sense that I would have liked to know what would happen if the Mother of Dragons wasn't killed and if she had gone on her little plan of having the world bow down to her and stuff like that.
My question of that is then, what if old mate Tolkien, not Tolkien, that's the other one, Martin, was like, so my ending is she goes bad and all the stuff you want to see is what he's going to write. And so they went, shit, okay, well then we won't do that, we'll do this. So whether, like, this episode is bad because they just didn't know what else to do.
Well, that's what, like
the book's going to give you the ending you really wanted.
I feel like that is the case, but like, it's...
Which is bad.
Yeah,
It's bad.
it's
like,
so bad.
Yeah.
But like, it's the last series of a tremendous show. Like this show is like broken records, won awards. Like it's won over a fan base that like nowadays you see a lot. But
Yeah.
it's difficult to get such a
cult.
large
It's a
scale.
cult.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
cult following. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, basically just
do
to
this.
throw it in our face and be like, thanks for wasting your time with us. We'll see
Yeah.
you back next week for Westworld.
Yeah, totally. I can't get over that. And it's funny, actually, leading up to it, there was a Westworld trailer. It was the other trailer I sent you that's got James McAvoy and stuff.
Okay.
That's a HBO show
Yeah,
as
right,
well.
okay.
So, since clearly the series had been going downhill,
Yeah.
HBO have been putting out trailers for everything that's coming up this year within the last 2 weeks. So they knew.
They knew.
They knew
Yeah.
where this was headed. And
They
I think it's
definitely
just... as an outsider looking in, it's just like, I just feel so bad.
I feel bad for the actors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who,
It's Mark Hamill all over again.
Yeah, like they've been so connected, and like especially for like the younger ones, like this was some of their first major roles, and
yeah.
this character has been with them since they were kids, and now they're young adults, and
And they're
like,
stuck in X-Men movies.
Yeah, and one of them is stuck in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I can't imagine going on this journey and then ending up
Yeah,
where it is.
I mean it's literally watching The Force Awakens
Yeah,
and then watching
and
The
Last
Last Jedi.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like Mark Hamill playing this character for
Yeah,
40 years,
yeah.
and then getting that script and not
Yeah.
have talking about the actors. It's like he's
Yeah.
got no way out of this,
Yeah.
and it's like that's what they want to make, and
Yeah,
he
pretty
just
much.
hates it the whole
Yeah.
way through.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I feel for you, Game of Thrones fans, but I do say check out Westworld if you haven't already, because it hasn't adapted the same kind of culture, but
Okay.
it is the same kind of show.
Right.
Like there is within the first series, and the first series has one of the best twists in shut up, crows! One of the best twists in television. So if you
Bran.
don't, it's brilliant.
It's brand new.
It's right. Yeah, but if you don't know the twist in Westworld,
No.
yeah, cool. If you can not know the twist,
All I know
Yeah.
about the show is that you described it to me like that game, Detroit.
yeah, totally.
And I really like that game, so I feel
So
like I might like
it's really worth if you can see
Yeah.
that show before. Probably the next one comes out,
Yeah,
so I'm
right.
sure memes and stuff will
catch
come.
up. Yeah.
But that's coming out, and like this other show, his name of something or other.
The one that you sent me the trailer
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
His name of something. It's actually the same universe as the Golden Compass. So it's actually that universe that failed with the movie.
That's
So it's that book again, and it looks really cool. It's got James McAvoy, it's got Daphne Keaton
Yeah.
from Logan. So check out that.
that was cool. I
Yeah,
saw
I'm
that.
really
I was
excited
like,
for
yeah,
her to be in a
that's
thing
nice,
because I
yeah.
like her. So yeah, check out that. There's a trailer for both of those. But yeah, Game of Thrones is
Yeah. I mean, to put it in a nutshell, disappointed,
Disappointed.
let down, robbed.
robbed, absolutely robbed.
I mean, if you were paying for this,
Yeah.
robbed.
Well, yeah, we live in Australia, so we
Yeah.
just unless you have Foxtel, you just you get
find other means.
you find other
of-
means.
Yes.
You find half of Endgame on Pornhub, but hey, you're not on any socials. There's nowhere to advertise you.
No, I like there are accounts out there, but I am inactive.
You are.
Yes.
Do you reckon you would come back?
No.
Don't need it.
No.
You've been enjoying it. I'd love to enjoy it if I
Yes.
wasn't doing shit like this.
I mean, if you want to talk to me, talk through Will.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And if you want to talk to me, this is what I do at the end of every
There you
podcast.
go.
If you want to talk to me, you can go on over to patreon.com/each their own. Any money gets us into the Discord, super secret Discord. And you can chat to Josh and I as a bunch of lovely people. We've got a Spider-Man channel, which isn't as active as I would thought it would be. Actually, I should have made a Game of Thrones channel this series. Although I feel like I would then have to put like a language barrier of words that cannot be said.
I feel like if you made a Game of Thrones channel, it would just be me.
And Sam would give me $1.
Yeah.
You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/each to their own. If you're listening on Spotify, you can also find us on YouTube. And if you're listening on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify at the link down below. Or if you want to try, you can type in Eto's, with a comma, where the O and the S is, catch up. It's not an easy thing to... Actually, you could probably just write Eto, because I don't think anyone else would have the word Eto
Yeah,
on
probably
Spotify. So search Eto, or click the link down below, because that's far easier. But until the next one of these, Will out.
Sheep out.
And Sam out.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I did.
That's good fun.
Good fun.
That's good.